Hello, my name is David Broussard, and I want to welcome you to this episode of our Office 365 Bootcamp. In this episode, we're going to talk about ad hoc collaboration. Now, I define ad hoc collaboration as something that is quick, to the point, it has a limited duration, it has a limited number of users, and it needs to be responsive and flexible. This is different than personal collaboration, which is all about one person working, and now we're talking about a group of people working together. To accomplish this, the first tool we'll look at is something that's called Office 365 Groups. What Groups has done is taken aspects of Outlook and Exchange, like email and calendaring, and married that with aspects of SharePoint, such as a file storage and an embedded OneNote notebook. So let's take a look at Groups and see how they can help us. To get to your Groups, you'll notice as I'm looking here at the portal, you don't see a Groups app in the app launcher. It actually lives inside of Mail, Calendar, People, or inside of your OneDrive. So in this case, I'll go ahead and click on the Mail icon. It'll go ahead and launch Outlook for me. And once I'm in Outlook, you'll notice that I have a series of groups over here in underneath my folders. And I can go and click on one of these groups, like for example, the marketing team. And when I go inside of this group, you'll see that I have a set of conversations. So here's one that's called the upcoming launch on the M400. And if I click on that, you'll see that Alan over here has talked about this, and he says, hello team, with the upcoming launch of the M400, now's the perfect time to plan for pushing that out to the secondary markets. Well, if I like that, I can go ahead and like it right here. Now, that kind of social feedback is actually kind of useful. We know you can see what people have liked and what isn't liked, and things that are liked are a little bit more valuable, obviously. I can also go down and reply, and you can see other people have gone through and said things. I can like their comments, and I can also reply, and I say, I think this is a grand idea. What can I do to help? And when I send this, I've added this to this entire conversation stream. So behind the scenes, this is all being done with email. It's essentially what it is, right? But it's a lot more than that. In addition to just email, I also have a calendar that I can look at inside of this. And what I can do now is I can go out and start scheduling, and you'll notice that we've got every day, I've got a recurring meeting, supply chain management meeting scheduled for 1 hour at 9 o'clock in the morning. Now that's on my calendar. Under the marketing team, I can go out and add a new calendar event. So I can go out and say, hey, I want to go ahead and add in a new project stand-up. And I can set where I'm going to put it. It's going to be in the Caspian room, right? And I can go down here and set a date and a time for it. I'll say I'm going to run it from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 2:30. I can set up a recurrence on it. I can even attach files all throughout that. And when I'm done, I can invite more people to it, and I can save it, and I can add this now to the team calendar. So I've actually got a way to go out and create calendar entries for my team. Now, a lot of times people have always complained about SharePoint, and that SharePoint would let you create team calendars, but it wouldn't necessarily let everybody add it to their own personal calendar. With a group calendar, you're actually adding it to the group, and everybody in the group is having it part of their calendar, which means it'll pop notifications and warnings and things like that. In addition to these email functions, which we're used to, right, and nicely linked together, I also have the ability to go and look at files inside of here. So when I go and look at my files, you can see that I can go out and create new files. So I could go out and create a new Word document, and it's going to go out and create this file, and you'll see that it's going to actually create this and let me edit this in Office Online. I could also go over and go ahead and work on this with the documents in Word on my desktop. So now that I'm working with files, you can see I can actually upload a file from a file that already exists on my machine, or I can go ahead and create a new one. In this case, I'll just go ahead and create a new Word document. And it's going to go ahead and pop open Word in a new tab over here where I can go ahead and edit it in Word Online. And so I can go out there and say, you know what, this is going to be my M400 product launch campaign. And I can rename that document launch campaign. And now what happens is this document has been saved, it's been sent back over there, and if I go back to my group files, you'll notice it actually shows up here in the group files area. And there we'll see that I've got my launch campaign document back over here in my files library. So I've been able to go out and easily create a document, upload it to this, in this case, create it in the actual library. I could upload it into here, but this gives me a place to not only communicate with my team members about what's going on, schedule meetings with them, it also allows me to actually go out and store documents with them, which is a pretty useful thing as well. In addition to working just with files, I may want to create notes. So I can go into my notebook area and I can actually open up OneNote. And this OneNote here allows me to go out and actually create new sections. And I can call this product launch. And I can say initial visit. And I can now go through and use OneNote. And what's nice about this is this OneNote notebook is tied directly to this particular Office 365 group. And so I'm able to work through this particular file. Anybody else can get in there and work in it that's a member of the group as well. Lastly, I have the ability to actually go out and go ahead and use what's called a planner. And this is something we'll want to go into in more detail another time, but a planner lets me go out and actually manage the tasks that are associated with this group. So what I can do now is I can actually, inside of my marketing team, I can go out and start to create buckets which organize my tasks, and I can tie those tasks back to this particular group. So for the marketing team, I could add a new bucket and we can call this product launch. And I can then add a task in here that says, find a venue, and I can even set a due date for it and say it needs to be done by the end of March. And then I can assign it to somebody like Amy. And when I'm done, I can add that task, and now you can see that find a venue has actually gone ahead and been added. And from here, she can determine what the progress is, whether it's been started or not. When it's due date, she can add a checklist here and says, look at hotels, look at convention centers, etc., right? We can even attach a file to this or a hyperlink, and we can use this comments section to go through and actually track the history of this task through its life cycle. And so what I've done now is I've actually, not only have I tied together email and calendaring and files and a OneNote notebook, I'm also able to put together an entire work area inside of this ad hoc collaboration space. So in addition to working it this way, what if I'm working with an existing group in this case, what if I want to create a new one? Well, that's actually pretty easy to do. Once I go back to my email area or any place inside of groups, if I want to create a new group, all I've got to do is click on the plus sign here next to groups, or click on the create down here at the bottom. When I do that, it's going to let me create my own group. I'm going to call this group David's Cool Group. And so I can go ahead and type in what I want my name to be. And what it's going to do is it's going to create this group ID. Now, what's interesting about this group ID is it actually creates an email address, which anybody can send an email to, and it will be delivered to everybody inside of the group. This can include, by the way, people outside of our organization, which means I can actually use groups to communicate with people outside my organization. And I'm going to say, this is my cool group. And I can choose whether I want everyone in my organization to see this or whether I want to make this a private group, which means only the people that are part of the group can actually see what's inside of it. I'll make this private. And I want to make sure everybody gets notifications, so I'll go ahead and say that. And I'm going to go ahead and create that group. The next thing it's going to ask me to do is to add members. And so I'm going to go ahead and add Amy, and I'm going to add Renee, and I'm going to go ahead and add Dan to my group as well. And so I've added these 3 members, and when I do that, they're all going to become members of my group. Now, because this is a private group, only they are going to be able to actually go out and actually work inside of this. So now that I've created my own group, you can see that I've got my own conversations, my own calendar, my own files, my own notebook, my own planner that are all associated with the members of my group. And from here, I can even go out and add new members. I can remove members. I can make Dan, for an example, an administrator. I can make him an owner of the group. Now he has full control over the group, but no one can work in this group except for the members of this particular group. Now, one of the really nice features about this is that Microsoft has also provided to us a mobile interface for this as well. And so what we'll do here is take a look at what this looks like on a mobile interface. And if I can make this size correctly, there we go. And so what we'll do here is I'll go ahead and open this up, and I'll open up the Groups app that Microsoft gives us. And you can see that right here I have David's really cool group. And there's my new group. And from here, in here, I can go ahead and start a conversation. I can say, hi, everyone. And I can post that. And when it goes and posts that, those conversations are going to appear over here inside of that. And you can see, hi, everyone has already been sent to this group. From there, I can like it. I can respond to it. I can get to all the files inside of this group right from my phone as well. I don't have any files in here yet because we haven't put any out there. I can go out and look at the calendar right from here and create a brand new event and say I'm going to create a group meeting, and it's going to be called Group Meeting for All of Us. And it's going to be on March 3rd at 2 o'clock from 3 o'clock, and I'll go ahead and hit create, and it will actually go out and create that meeting for me. So from here, I'm actually able to go out and even go and get to my OneNote notebook and work with it right from my phone. I find that to be really powerful working off the OneNote, because from the OneNote, I can actually take pictures with my phone, take videos and voice recordings right from here, and work with this all from inside of my group app at this point in time. All right. I hope that gives you a good overview of how groups are, what groups are, and how they can be used to make your ad hoc collaboration happen inside your organization.